So what you'll feed? Snakes don't give for free. Take me with you. We got a bargain. To play it straight, or there's no doubt I'll turn your eyeballs inside out. This way. Nemesis Enforcer, dispose of them.
We need to get farther, faster. We don't have much time. The outcome are more than just brute force. We are spies, scouts, guardians, infiltrators. You will be tested. You will be hurt. You will suffer. And you will fail. And the hardest part will be listening to you complain about it.
That wasn't real.
What?
That wasn't real. Who cares?
Don't say that. Please don't say that. It was real. It was real to me. You are my mother. You were my real mother. The closest thing I ever had to her. The best part of my life was fake. And none of you told me. And those agents you chemically subjugated around the globe, that was me.
Hey, Duke. You know, the hardest part about this is not being able to fire it ever. That is the hardest part. See, this right here, I could have gotten it modular in a different format, but I chose to go with a transformer because that's your thing. And it's modular. But, you know, enough Peter for now. And let's think about Peter in a different way. Nobody remembers the deals, the court cases. Nobody remembers. So it's not fair. You know, it could have been a simple exchange. However, years later, nobody nobody remembers anything. So, you know, now that I've had time for my mind to unfold, I'm able to remember the positive things. I never got to remember anything positive. I never learned anything because of it. However, I'm starting to get it all back now. Now, I can know what positive things I should want in the future. So, Cobra is G.I. Joe. This is one of the many meanings of knowing is only half the battle. But it's the truth. Because otherwise, nobody would be doing anything. There would be no crime, no nothing. Everything is totally inverted. Any local law enforcement will believe any lie that anyone from another law enforcement agency says, and then they will get credible, paid witnesses related to the crime's committer, to get the law in order to work against the interests of the general public. And specifically, in the order that they do it is those who are creating a public outcry for one reason or another, or no reason at all, and somebody just has to get paid within the Department of Defense's intelligence covenant. Of course, you know all this. You know, I just now have proper perspective as to where I will no longer be fitting in. So, I put together this nice little package, as you can see. This explains what Cobra has in its possession because of incorrect and people who forgot about the court cases. The plans for the gate to heaven on earth is blocked by barbed wire. The casket is above the sea is wrong. Below the sea is correct. Under the sea, the casket has 3 nuclear munitions from the fire bases in Vietnam and blueprints for a space doorway projection system. 1 of 2 of Cobra's poisonous jewels. Just the same, the other lost treasure was found by a Chinese fisherman a long time ago. The paper plans for my people's ark to Mars were discarded as useless trash. And here are 2 nuclear munitions. 2 nuclear munitions from the fire bases in Vietnam. Just like in Call of Duty, Black Ops, for which everyone is playing the story of the real thing that is occurring right here. This is just so that people have an understanding of what is actually going on when it finally drops during the revolution. in America. And these plans for an arc, as I call it, because my people, like in their religious group portion of my people, like Christianity and Noah's Ark is kind of important to them. So I call it our arc for a blending of all the groups and their different belief non-systems or systems, so that it is really called a microwave phaser craft. And the thing about it is for a total of 5 from the fire bases were already loaded on board. A few of the others were not loaded on, and 4 of Cobra Commander's boys were murdered by people who wanted to be heroes back home with the Intelligence Covenant, and those people became an opponent known as G.I. Joe, or some sort of quasi-intelligence apparatus. And, as you know, here we are today. So, I wanted to go off and explain which people I don't particularly like. Well, he's a walker. Years ago, some sort of deal right after Waco was made. And it was to find dirty Texas Rangers. These are all the reasons that I could find that I don't like emergency services. All of those things were done to me. At some point. And this really isn't even a complete list, but basically, and since everyone else wanted to be a hero and work in emergency services mainly to do this, this put my experiences totally inverted from the rest of my people's. And also, I never understood and was in a lot of pain and hated everything and was angry at everything that was right in front of me. When I was experiencing this in a different kind of environment. And so I never had any chance to really come to terms with who my people were, and I always got a nasty response because I was not projecting positive, caring commander like they would expect me to have been. So they expect me to want to run and rush in and help people, Alright? And all these kinds of terrible things, and or different, or weird, or more, all of these painful things, all happening. So, then, when I encounter them wanting me to go and do those things, I just can't stand it. At least not here, because it's not fair and it's not equal. And on top of having 20,000 gun laws, when they were supposed to have the right to keep and bear arms. Take a look at this. Made with plastic. This is not designed as a shouldering device. This is designed as a pull stock or a brace for a pistol. And I never intended to fire it to begin with. This was just a trap. With sets of barrels never fired. So, looking at how the ATF operates with its intelligence partners who used to work in law enforcement, we've discovered a lot of very troubling things. Like, for example, oh wait, I forgot. The example is in the demonstration. This was organized at a design level. The ATF is designed to counter what people want to do with their freedom and their gunsmithing and the right to keep and bear arms. Check this out. I'm going to turn this into a pistol with a short stock, which is permitted under the NFA of 1934. Interesting year, 1934. That was Nazi year, where Nazis took over laws everywhere and carbon copy pasted their gun laws. Through very simple journalistic research, you can find out wherever the Nazi nurseries had taken over, which had been establishing themselves since the mid-1800s. Now, of course, I'm going to need some highly specialized gunsmithing tools, which would definitely, take forever to get and stuff like that. And then I'd have to get like all these permits and stuff because, it really is a special thing. But you know what? Okay, now let's see. I got this list here. And I got all these special bits, and you know what? Oh, wait! Turns out doesn't even matter. And like I said, everything was engineered. A couple of samples just to make a couple examples. Now, it's a pistol with a short stock, just like a Mauser C93. Except, it's not a machine pistol, because then it would be a machine gun, or whatever. But, Duke, it's a transformer. And the ATF agent that's been following this case from the beginning that will ultimately take over should take note that he works for a system that creates classes of taxes. Classes of taxes. And these taxes are for different classes of people. They only apply to certain types of people who are on lists that the government approves. In conclusion, Duke, I'm not free here. So, I picked up the crooked staff, just like you, and began leading in a different way. Even if it is out of necessity. My point is, if you didn't need any special tools that you can't just buy, then how can you make it something that is prohibited in this world? Personal drone delivery has existed since the 70s of things that may or may not have been prohibited. So, now that we've covered some legal stuff and some, okay, whose side can I be on? Can I be on the side of the good guys in emergency services? Yes. This is an example. So, as you know, never tell a lie when I'm wearing this hat. So, it was you, Duke. When the chips were down, you looked back at certain things and you saw that I was making a connection in the right direction. I generally have an idea of where things need to go. However, confusion and communication with the brainworms and the chosen one are messing with balance and obtaining balance of leadership and craft to control the outcome in the beginning of every court case not related to me. By your communication with Dr. Mindbender, you said, "Do it!" And even though Dr. Mindbender had said no, like a true Cobra, he came in, and then I did a rigmarole. I allowed law enforcement a little bit, but not all of it, because they need to be controlled. Because they are the government. They work for us. Not the other way around. If I'm disabled, I will be having some way to try to take care of myself or defend myself, however it may be. And ultimately, nobody got hurt, as I was on an honor system, which I agreed to. However, if I'm going to continue to be G.I. Joe and do what is right, taking into consideration the trial of Cobra Commander and the Cobra attack. By the way, very out of place right here, if you know what's behind it. And same with here. If you know what is behind it, you know that there was Toma and Yamo. Yamo, myself, and Toma no more. Except, right now, he's comforting me and championing what he was murdered over. Those 20,000 gun laws. And while Oklahoma has been good to me, unfortunately, its courts can't figure out what's going on. Because of interstate agreements for money in order for the federal government to infract upon the rights. And so I lead my people elsewhere. Because it is allowed everywhere. And I can't count on all of the chiefs of police getting together and listening to G.I. Joe about who the bad guy is and who the bad guys look like and who the good guys are and why they look like the bad guys. It's not reasonable for any of them to ever get together and decide that they have not been totally right the entire time of their entire existence and grown into a natural, we have always been right. You can't expect them to just go against that and switch sides and start working with the bad guys, especially not the worst of all, the Merlin. But it is possible. And I think I can chart that course. So, Calabuck. You know, sometimes when you're confronted with things like prophetic pastries or whatever, you have to take a step back and wonder if anyone else is actually behaving with the thing as a prophetic pastry. If they are acting as though it is real, and they're moving state-level resources in conjunction with another country that is moving state-level resources, then and the origin of it is in another country, then you may have pinpointed a reality. That the prophetic pastry might be representing something that is very real, like a person. And maybe you don't need to be afraid of it. Then again, there's no laws against wands in the United States. Not even a mention. So, who's speaking reasonably and who's listening reasonably? To what I'm saying in this particular area right here. Anyway, if you consider this worth a stack of gold coins to help pan out temporarily, we will move 1 decimal over into the positive instead of negative. And $2,000 of that will be moved into a travel fund towards the next stack of gold coins. However, the whole reason for this drastic beggars can't be choosers, and the hardest part, me complaining about it, I guess, but not for a moment or for money, but as I now recognize as a child, I was complaining about it. And I was confused, and I realize this now. That's the hardest part, is at the command level, Dr. Mindbender in particular, and you, Evil Duke, having to listen to me complain about it. With only brief moments, such as like right now, when confronted with definitely gonna die, possibly starting a war with two people not otherwise involved, except that they notice this, being worth, once I am able to start communicating the story of Peter and the wolf, catching the wolf, for one brief moment, surviving Mr. Sushi, now that all the Dragon Balls have started to be assembled. I ask you to lend me what I asked for, now that I know what people want. I can change things for the better. And confront more past, and also salvage the Chosen One and switch safety roles. I will become his teacher and his brother and forgive him now that I have punished him in the most evil way that has ever been done for the crime he committed. And we will train and grow in Budo in peace, and we will be brothers, and we will dance a cosmic dance of two serpents battling, and ascending to heaven. And by that phraseology I do mean in ascending to heaven to forget the things of the past that we did to each other that were wrong, in order to get a new day and a new chance, and to instantly end the pain that we remember, in exchange for a healing and that new chance. That's what that symboling of ascending to heaven means in this particular case. It has no real religious connotations unless your religion says something about that, which I don't particularly prescribe to, because I'm evil and I know better. You'll tell me what the truth is. I will not bother to correct you. And I think that just about covers it in this case. However, I wanted to address the emergency services. If I have the Chosen One with me, next time we run that circuit, I will have a detector to know whether the coast is clear, and I have already learned and done the military things and done the rescue things in training to be able to fix something the best I can. But remember this, now that I know the worst, I can create the best so that my people can't be stopped from doing what they really want to do, which is help people. It's true the commander's warped, but now that I know this, I can fix myself, and someone can do build a commander with Peter or something. And then, I wanted to explain this. I know that people are very upset about the Chosen One. However, I can convince the Chosen One to work with me and become my brother, and absolve his pain, which I have caused, and he done to me, he has caused. You want G.I. Joe, you want G.I. Joe to be your leader and your commander, then you can be the backseat driver with the Chosen One. And remember that that night, I allowed somebody else to shine. But even after the fire had been extinguished by the firefighters, nobody has yet let the fire that is before you now go out in their mind. You're still thinking about the fire. Nothing outshines the fire in the darkness of the night. You're still in darkness! And I found a way that can enlighten you to the type of evil that I am, that knows better. I present to you The health pack. Out of the ashes of Waco. Funeral after funeral. People cry for those remembered, angry at those they forgot. The solution is Cobra's mind transference technology, formatted the way I am explaining now. Second chances. No more funerals. The first responder health pack for the deceased. Distributed by egg-laying flying whales, which are now possible. If the commander survives, the commander's responsibility is to the mind transference technology, for which the commander's injury and illness must be fully explored. I have nearly completed this and only ask for consolidation now. And so, rescue help from the commander is more complex. Gathering materials is easy, but slow at first. Future cities of Cobra egg domes. All because G.I. Joe did what it took and ended up fighting for what is right. However, the weight is unbearable, and there is no doorway to catch me like an endless waterfall. So, without any further postponement, great honor to you for this gift of hope and positivity, my Japanese wizard family, and many dreams in the air for Japan. Cobra! Japanese wizard family. I do not have any honor, but I decided to get some. My weapon of choice is not a sword, but a wand, and a hidden blade, and a pen to be sure, and a matrix of leadership. Thank you very much for your gift of my story to better explain to the world what happened and what we intend to do next, and how I might play a part. But the true story, if you decide to accept my path of honor, I would like to ask you of another favor, and I don't care what the critics say, it was pretty badass. So, asking for a favor, this right here, I'd like you to get me a backseat driver for player 1 and player 2, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, and another backseat driver, the Baroness. I made one of my people cry and embarrassed him at his family. And for that I am sorry. I hear it, and I understand it. Thank you for your consideration.